Well, hello, welcome again to a reading of Plato's Crito, and I'm up to section here 50c4, or what I'm going to call chapter 12. Now, this is a very long section, and it's not clear where to put any breaks in it to divide it into two, so I'm going to not read out the Greek so much for all of this. I'm just going to translate it through. I'll do a little bit of the Greek and read it out, but basically I'm just going to translate it through here. So, tiunan epos an hoi nomoi. So, by the way, in this section, Sokrates continues to pretend that he's having a conversation with the laws, and they're asking him questions and he's responding. So it's a rather clever way, almost a kind of postmodern approach to literature, where he's actually setting up this straw man, he's setting up these laws and having a conversation with them within the context of trying to explain his points to Crito. So what then would the laws say? Oh, Sokrates. Now the A introduces a question. This is from homologio. This is a pluperfect passive. You don't see these all that often, but they're there in Greek. Pluperfect passive, and the subject is tauta, neuter plural singular verb. And the A, of course, introducing a question. So, O Sokrates, had not these things been agreed by us and by you, or to remain, or that so you should abide by the ordinances by which the city Dicasde passes judgment. Eun auton damaston legonton, genitive absolute here. So if, therefore, when they are saying these things, would we be amazed? So if then we were surprised when they said these things, perhaps they would say, and then inverted commas continues on, O Sokrates, do not be surprised at the things being said, but give answer, imperative from apokrinomai, since also you are accustomed from aotha, and we've got an infinitive here from kraomai, which is meaning to use, and it takes a dative, and here we've got a dative with articular infinitives. Since you also are accustomed to make use of the question and the answer. This is the famous Socratic method of question and answer. Ferregar, come then. Now, enkallone is a participle from enkallio, to find fault with. So why, finding fault with us and the city, why do you attempt Apollunai to destroy us? Move it up a little bit here. Why do you attempt to destroy us? U proton mense. So did we not at first, well, literally beget you? This is from, how have we not begotten you in the first place? This is from genao with double nu. It's perhaps bring about your birth might be better translation here. So did we not first bring about your birth, and through us your father elabe, literally just took but probably married, your mother kai effutusen, literally planted you, so we would say begat you or begot you. So was it not through us? So did we not first bring about your birth, and through us your father married your mother or took your mother and begot you? Tell us this, for us on eun, therefore speak, it's an imperative. Now, the main verb here is memphai. So do you find, as a question, do you find blame in any way, and it takes a dative, with these laws of ours, or perhaps with us the laws. So do you find blame in any way with these laws of ours, the ones concerning marriage, and then hos plus a participle. This is a dative plural participle here, agreeing with the tois nomois or the tu tois. So tell me then, do you find blame in any way with these laws of ours, the ones regarding marriage, that they are not good, that they are not noble? And Sokrates says, I don't blame them, I would say. The laws continue on here, but now you've got to supply something like, do you find fault with those laws, peri, regarding, tain goes with trophane, regarding the rearing of one who is born, the rearing of one who has been born, and the education, almost the education system, in which also you have been educated, passive here. A eukalos prosetaton. So the subject here is, so it's or, we've got to, again, the nomo is in brackets here, but we do have to understand it in any case. So the laws, so or, do the laws, the ones having been set up, this is from Tasso, perhaps the laws perhaps assigned, might be better here, having been assigned epituto to this thing, that is to the rearing and education. So do the laws that have been assigned to this, do they not give orders or give commands well? So do the laws assigned to this matter give proper commands? Parangelontes, recommending to your father to educate paiduain se you in literally music and gymnastics, but it's here more something like the arts and athletics. Kalos fi ein well, they are fine, I would say. Iain, well then. Epede, since you have been born, and you have been reared, and you have been educated. Ekois plus the infinitive and an here is used in the sense of to be able to. So, so would you be able to say, first of all, that you were not hemeteros, you were not ours, you do not belong to us? Now we get kai ek gonos, kai doulos, both as our offspring and as our doulos, our servant. So are you able to say, first of all, that you were not ours, both as an offspring and as a servant? Autos te, you yourself and your progenoi and your ancestors. Kai eit tut hutos eke. Now echo again with an adverb. If this is so. Now we get some idiomatic things here. Ex isu is quite common idiomatically. It means something like on equal footing, on equal status. And todikaion, the top with the dikaion, probably used in the abstract sense of the rights. So in ara, it's something like, do you then think that your rights, todikaya, that the rights, I should say, to be on equal footing for you and for us? So do you think that your rights and ours are on equal footing? Kai hat, now this is hata. This is like tina, it's that indefinite in regard to whatever. So in regard to whatever things we might attempt to do to you, this is subjunctive here. So in respect of whatever things we might attempt to do to you, that do you think it to be just for you, antipoiein tauta, to repay, to do these things in return? Antipoiein tauta, to do these things in return. E pros men arasoiton patera uk ex isu eintodikaion. Now we're going to supply some of the words in the earlier bit, so it's sort of or. It's something like, or indeed your rights were not on the same level in regard to your father and regard to some master, if there chanced being one for you. So in other words, you've got to supply the verb to think. So do you not realise, or surely you don't believe, that your rights are on equal footing with that of your father, and in regard to some master, if you happen to have one? In other words, in the same way as you should be whatever we say, in the same way that you certainly wouldn't think that you have the same rights as your father or some master if you happen to have one. Hosti, with the result that haper, the very things which you might suffer, this is an optative here, these things also you would do in return. So in other words, so that you might repay or pay back those things, the very things which you had suffered. In other words, if your father does something bad to you, do you do something bad to your father, or your master mistreats you, do you mistreat your master? That's the sense of it here. So that you might also repay them for any things that you might suffer. Uti kakos akuonta. Now, kakos akuo is an idiom again. It means to hear badly, means to be verbally abused. It's a fairly common idiomatic thing. So neither, if you are verbally abused, anti-legain, to speak in return, that is to abuse in return, nor being struck, to strike in return, nor alatoiauta pola, nor all other such things. So you don't think it's right that you can do all that, but understand you do think it's right, it is lawful, so you think that it is lawful for you, understand, to do all these things to your fatherland and the laws. So we translated something like, but do you believe that it is okay to do all this, to do these things to your fatherland and to the laws, so that, hosti, if we might attempt, we get these quite strong hemes, we, emphatic, that if we might attempt apolunai, to it's to destroy, so to put you to death, regarding, that's that hegemai in the sense of to regard or to think, thinking it to be a just thing, kai su, and you, kath hoson dunasai, inasmuch as you are able, so you will attempt to destroy in return the laws and your fatherland. In other words, so if we attempt to put you to death, regarding this as just, and you will attempt, as far as is in your power, to destroy us laws and your fatherland in return, and you will say that doing these things you are acting justly, you, the one who is, well, perhaps devoted to or having a care for, the one devoted to the truth of virtue, because Socrates has always maintained that he's interested in finding out what true virtue is and truth and so on, and so he's using his own, the laws are using his own kind of argument and behaviour against him. It's all very almost metatheatric here of what is being said. A hutos a sophos, or are you so clever so that, now this lelethen is from lanthano. This is a perfect neuter participle. I think it's being used impersonally here. So are you so wise that it has escaped your notice that, now the subject here, we've got to go down to here, that your fatherland is temioteron, more precious, I'll take the other ones as well, and more dignified and more sacred, and these are all comparative, so we need a genitive of comparison, so they're more precious, more dignified, more sacred than your mother and your father and all your other ancestors. And in greater portion, literally, so perhaps in a position of greater respect, both para, beside the gods and beside men. And then in apposition to the anthropos, this is another dative plural participle here, and so and in the presence of men who have good sense, who have a mind. Kai, again you've got to, oh no, there's a day there, and it is necessary to show them reverence, and even more to yield to them and to flatter your fatherland when it is angry. So it's even more necessary for you to reverence and to yield and to flatter your fatherland when it is angry than it is to do so towards your father. And either to persuade it or to do that which it might bid, and to suffer if it might order, understand you, to suffer something. Hezukian agonta, this again that use of ago, this again is idiomatic here, something like maintaining your silence, keeping your peace, maintaining your silence. So even if it orders you to suffer, and if understood it orders you tuk testhai, to be beaten, this is e'an plus te, to be beaten, or if it orders you to daesthai, to be imprisoned, or if it orders, or if it might lead you into war, perhaps send you off to war. Now this is trothe sominon is a future passive participle. The verb is titrosko, to wound, and this is the future passive participle, which has there the sense of, so to send you off into a war where you are about to be wounded or you are about to die. So where you will be wounded or you might die. Poieteon, and we're going to get a series of these verbal adjectives here. So these things must be done, and kai tadikaion eke, and it is in this way just. So this is in fact justice. And neither must you yield, from hoop echo, neither must you yield, nor must you retreat, nor must you desert, from lepo, must you leave or desert, obtain taxin is the line of battle, but both in war and in the law court and everywhere, poiation, you must do that which the city and your fatherland might bid, those things which the city and your fatherland might bid. Or, to persuade it, hei totikaion pefuke. This is from Fuo. It's often just perfect form here. It's just often used in the sense of to exist or to be. So to persuade it in regard to what is really just, to what is by nature just. But it is uk, it is not a holy thing, it is not pious, biadzesthai, to act violently neither towards your mother nor your father, but much less so still than them, that is, than your family, to act violently towards your fatherland. Now this is all a question as well, so it's hard to get it into good English here, so there's a question mark at the end of it. Tifesomen prostauta, what will we say to these things, O Crito? Will we say that the laws speak truly or not? Emoi gedoke, well, Crito, after all this, says, I think they do. That is the end of chapter 12.